What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing to you the 10th day out of the 12 days of Yu-Gi-Oh! And today we are doing Graydle. So I will be updating my Graydle deck profile now. Graydles, they're a very interesting deck that basically gain advantage when they are destroyed by battle, spell, or traps. It's different for each Graydle. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So in this build, I'm basically focusing on going second because Graydles, they just work better going second. I run 3 Gradle Eagle. Eagle, if this card is in your monster zone, if this card in your monster zone is destroyed by battle or a monster effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, equip this card to that target. While this card is equipped to that monster by this effect, take control of the equipped monster. And when this card leaves the field, destroy that equipped monster. So that's the Gradle deck in a nutshell. You destroy them. They attach to one of your opponent's monsters, and then you take control of that opponent's monster. Now, all of the Graydles have the effect too, if they're destroyed by battle, to attach themselves, but the monster effect is for Eagle, and there's a specific Graydle for spells and traps. So you see why this deck doesn't really do much going first, because your opponent's not going to have any monsters, so there's not really a point to really even going first and triggering off those Graydle effects. I run 3 Graydle Alligator. Alligator, if it's destroyed by battle or spell, you can attach it to a monster your opponent controls and take control of it. I run the 1 Graydle Cobra. This one is by trap. I only run the one of because since this is a going second, running traps, this isn't really all that valuable because obviously traps are more for going first. Like if you want to side in the Torrential Tributes, the Graydle Split and all that, you can definitely do that, but for going second, I just run the 1 Cobra. I run the 3 Gradle Slime Jr. Jr., when this card is normal summon, you can target 1 Graydle monster in your graveyard. Special summon that monster, then you special summon from your hand 1 Aqua type monster with the same level as that monster special summoned by this effect. So Jr. is really good at just getting your Graydles onto the field from your hand or grave. I also run the 1 Gradle Slime. If this card is in your hand or grave, you can target 2 Graydle cards you control, destroy them, and if you do, special summon this card. You can only use the effect of the Gradle Slime once per turn. And it's when this card is summoned this way, you can target 1 Gradle monster in your graveyard, special summon the target defense position. Notice how it says Gradle cards, not monsters. So if you want to use like your Gradle Impact or your Gradle Split, or not the Gradle Split, just 2 Gradle cards, you don't necessarily have to use monsters. So this card can pretty much always be live. Moving on to the monsters, I run the 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, the 2 Effect Failure, and the 2 Crow to round out the extra deck. Or not the extra deck, the main deck, or the monsters. I cannot English today. Moving on to spells, I run 3 Gradle Impact. Impact, you can target one of the Gradle cards you control and 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them, and during your end phase you can add 1 Gradle card from your deck to your hand. So this is mainly good for triggering off the Gradle Alligator. I also run 3 Dark Hole, same reason as the Gradle Impact, destroys your Alligator by spell, and you can just destroy all your opponent's monsters too. I run 3 Pop Prosperity because the extra deck is pretty loose for the most part. You don't really use it too much because you're mostly just taking your opponent's boss monsters rather than using your own. Of course, since I'm going second, I run some going second cards like the 3 Dark Ruler No More. Definitely a necessity in any going second strategy to just negate your opponent's effects. That way you can take control of your opponent's monsters without too much hassle. I also run 3 Psychic Eraser Laser. Now, honestly, I'd probably take that out for Droplet, but I don't have any Droplets, so I'm just running Psychic Eraser Laser as I kind of fill in for it. Psychic Eraser Laser is another good going second card. You send 1 monster your opponent controls that special summon from the extra deck to the graveyard. Then your opponent gains life points equal to the original monster attack or defense, whichever was higher. So basically it just removes or forces out a negation. I run the 1 Monster Reborn. Again, just moving on to the traps, I run the 1 Split. Split, you can target 1 face-up monster you control, equip this card to it. It gains 500 dying during your main phase. You can send this card equipped to a monster best effect to the graveyard to destroy that card. And if you do, special summon 2 Gradle monsters with different names from your deck. Overall, it's really good. The only downside is that it's a trap, you're going second, so you have to set it and then activate it during your next turn or your opponent's turn. And your opponent's pretty much going to already have a board at that point. I just run it because it still does come up sometime. You still do run the 1 Cobra. I run the 2 Torrential Tribute. I only run 2 since this is a going second focus strategy, but Torrential Tribute is just so good of a card that even going second is still a good card to run. And also run 3 Infinite Impermanents for negations. Moving on to the extra deck, I run the 2 Gradle Dragon. Dragon with this card synchro summon target cards your opponent controls up to the number of water monsters for the synchro summon of this card. Destroy them. If this card destroy a valor or card effect and sent to the graveyard, target one other water monster in your graveyard special summon it. If its effects are negated. You occasionally go into Gradle Dragon. I wouldn't say it's the card you probably always go into, but considering most of the time your Gradle monsters are going to be in your spell and trap zone and not in the monster zone, you don't really use your extra deck as much, and that's kind of more or less why. Also on the 1 Brionic, I run a Break Sword, Town Magician, and Zeus, in case you need to go that route instead. For links, I run a area, the Water Charmer. Just a good water link monster, much like Miss Starboy. Also run 1 Crystal and Hulky Fireback. We do run tuners in this deck. The Slime Junior is a tuner, so you can go into synchro plays with it. Obviously, since we do run Graydle. I run an IP package with Masquerena, Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn. And to round out, I run Access Code and Appaloosa. So what do you think of Graydle? Think it's a pretty interesting deck? I definitely think it's a pretty interesting deck. And tomorrow will be my Amorphage deck profile. So, I'll see you tomorrow.